the 2025 budget that I present to you today is one of the restoration. It seeks to consolidate the key policies.
Welcome to Let's Talk Politics on Naija Anchor News. I'm your host, Ikyerga Joseph, and today we are joined by two esteemed guests who will help us unpack the implication of this budget. First, let me introduce our guest one, Santhiago Jose.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph Ikyerga.
And Stanley Ame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph.
Okay, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's kick things off. Let's talk about the key highlight of this budget. The president mentioned that the economy had already seen growth in 2024, beating predictions, growing by 3.46% instead of the projected 3.2%. What are your thoughts on this progress and the overall direction of this new budget, Santhiago?
Thank you for the question. Why is commendable that the economy is reportedly growing at 3.46 instead of, you said 3.2, right?
Yeah.
It's good that the president said that, but the real question is, where is this growth happening? We are all in this country. On paper, the numbers might look promising, but in reality, it tells a different story. And since this administration took over, we've witnessed skyrocketing inflation and a significant increase in the cost of living. Within 18 months, the price of liter of fuel has gone from 200 naira to over 1,200 naira. So this kind of hyperinflation, it affects everything: food, transportation, housing, and all the basic amenities. And the average Nigerian is struggling more than before. We thought that Buhari's administration was poor, but these guys is worse. So if the economy is truly growing, it should reflect on the standard of living of the citizen. It's not like when you want to present budget, then you are reading numbers for us. We are in this country. Let's feel it. That is not the case. People are facing more hardship. Growth on paper means little if it doesn't translate into real tangible benefit for the people. So while the budget might aim to tackle some, and they are tackling growth, all those things, we have to ask ourselves whether this thing address the root cause of our problem, because the major cause of problem now is fuel, inflation. So those things, I did not see where they want to tackle inflation. I did not see where they have to tackle this thing. That's just my take on this.
Well, that is interesting. But that means that you're trying to say that we're not seeing the changes physically.
We are not seeing it. Me, I'm not seeing it. You are in this country. Are you seeing it? Stanley, are you seeing the change?
Let's go further first. So last year we saw a budget of 27.5 trillion naira, which was 26.1% higher than that of 2023 presented by the predecessor Muhammadu Buhari. This year's budget presents a significant jump of 36.8% from the 2024. What does this huge increase in the budget size signify, especially considering the country's ongoing challenges with inflation, exchange rates, and public debt?
The increase is perceived to have been a problem-solving increment, in the sense that he's trying to increase this budget and all of that with the mindset of correcting the wronggoings and all this inflation and the difficulties and challenges we are facing on a daily basis. But to me, I'm just seeing that as a bit of still embezzling more funds, just like we all have been experiencing in the country. They will mention numbers because we believe in numbers so much in this country, to a point that when they call numbers, we say, the problem has been solved. But as time going, when we begin to go deep into the real business of the day, you see everything will begin to cripple. They'll begin to they'll begin to give excuses until the tenure elapses, and at the end of the day, we'll still keep on suffering what we have been suffering for years. So I don't think all this still signify that yes, he's still going to do something. They begin to use big grammars and say, we are going to repair this, we are going to fix this, so that they can be given the opportunity to increase and decrease wherever they want. So to me, I don't think seeing this is enough reason for me to still believe that yes, he's still going to do a lot of things. No, decide to stop.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is that he's just one of those ones who have been who have happened in the past.
Yes,
yet we don't see results.
Yes, it's even more than those. in the past, because even in the past, at least the first few months in office, they'll begin to act like a very good boy and gentleman.
It's all right.
Along the line, they will just
let
change.
us move forward before
along the line.
we'll come back to this very one.
All right.
So now, in his presentation, President Tinubu, he spoke about some key projections, including a decrease in inflation from 34.6% to 15%, a reduction in the foreign exchange rate from 1,700 naira to 1,500, and an increase in crude oil production to 2.06 million barrels per day. These are bold projections. But the question is, how realistic do you think these goals are?
Thank you once again. Like I said before, to be honest, I find these projections annoying. I find this projection provoking. I find this projection like they are looking down. This is what typical Nigeria will call see finish. Like They take us for granted in this country. We are all in this country. Okay. These people, they say things that are not the reality of the day. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't see any changes or growth that the government claims. For example, the inflation is saying they drop. We all know, how does inflation drop when a price of fuel rose from 200 naira to 1,200 naira? How does inflation drop when a bag of rice was 28,000? Now a bag of rice, 50 kg of rice, is over 70,000. Is that the drop of inflation? How do you tell us that inflation dropped when we used to buy a shirt 700, 1,000? Now you can't get a shirt of 3,000. When transportation from where I used to work within one, in fact, let me not even talk, a plate of Indomie used to be 500, Indomie 500 naira, and Indomie and egg.
Yeah.
Now Indomie is 1,500 naira plate of Indomie and egg in this country. So how do you come out and tell us that inflation have dropped? Now he's talking about the reduction in foreign exchange rate and this thing. Yes. When he picked up, how much was dollar? A dollar was not even close to 500, but now a dollar is 600,
around
1,600.
Yes.
Now today there was a program. In fact, after the budget presentation, one senator from Benue State Zone C, he was saying that they are trying to peg the dollar at 1,500 naira. Imagine that once the dollar is stable at 1,500 naira, they'll count it as improvement. Man, come on, something that was less than 500 and you are trying to peg it at 1,500 and you are saying it's improvement. So this good and this all these things, they sound good on paper, but they feel more like they are just political promises and propagandas. They just want to, but we are all in this country, I will see. And the most annoying part is those there are people who will come out and they are clapping for them and they are feeling. So my brother, it's not funny. It's not funny.
Well, let us hope to see whether there will be changes this time around. Okay, so to move further, President Tinubu also provided a breakdown of the budget's allocations. Defense and security are allocated at 4.91 trillion naira. Housing gets 4.06 trillion naira. Health is allocated 2.48 trillion naira. And education received 3.58 trillion naira. These sectors seem to be prioritized in this budget. But Stanley, let me ask, what do you think of this approach? And how do you see these funds being allocated effectively?
Now, before I even proceed, I'll first of all still ask you to still take a careful look at the total breakdown of this budget.
Okay.
Now, how can you allocate 4.91 trillion naira to security and then check education? You see, education is 3.58 trillion, if I'm not mistaken. Now, how is security supposed to earn more than the education sector? Now, these are the primary challenges we are facing here in the country. No matter how you invest in the security of a thing, we are still going to still lack. We are still insecure.
In fact, the more money they allocate to security, the more insecurity we have in the country.
Because they begin to, so all these things now, first of all, you need to even check the breakdown, just like I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Then before you start talking whatsoever you want to talk about, because now see this aspect of housing.
Yes, housing now 4.06.
Even for you to even get house in the at any federal housing related this thing.
Estate or areas,
they are even
yes.
more expensive than the privately owned housing estates.
And then
so
is who know who.
and again, before you even get house there,
Yes.
it is better you just look for somewhere else and hide yourself instead of stressing, passing through processes. At the end of the day, you still not get it. They will still have to extort from you. So I see all these things as I'm not supposed to condemn it totally, but to me, it's not worth it at all.
Okay, so what you're saying now,
and
you prefer it to be channeled to education more than the
there should be
security and
enough
housing.
funding on the education sector, even other than this security, because even the security have been enjoying a lot of things, yet we are still insecure in the country, just like I mentioned earlier. So I see no reason why they should channel more energy to this security of a team, because even if you like, let there be.
But let me cut you. Don't you think that by adding this very amount, talking about 4.91 trillion, maybe he want to improve the security of the country? Don't you think
see,
so?
these are the promises they come with. These are the promises we have been hearing. Like, it's sounding more like the jingle bell that we normally hear during the Christmas holidays. So I don't think this is something new and promising and I don't even see it as promising enough that will even be fulfilled at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you very much, Stanley. It's clear that the government is focused on long-term stability and development. However, as President Tinubu emphasized, the time for limitation is over. It's time for actions. Do you think these budgets will help Nigerians to see a significant change in their lives?
To be frank, I don't think so, because we are all in this country. Like Stanley is saying, we have seen this now. Even from the budget allocation, you will know that these people are not serious. And you will know that it's not going to manifest to anything. The budget for housing is more than education. We have already in the northern state, in the cold northern state, we are struggling with lack of education. Illiteracy is causing a lot of. We see how the damage is being done. It's the most savage region when it comes to underdevelopment, when it comes to poverty, when it comes to all this, even when it comes to insecurity. These people need to be educated. How can you budget 3 points to education and then housing? Who are those people in the housings? So to tell you the truth, we have been, and moreover, we have been in this country, we see that nothing works. And then the way they are saying it, if we are seeing that things are already working, we will know. And the worst part of it is things are not working, and they want us to believe that things are working. You know, things are not working. How can the president say the inflation has dropped when Nigerian inflation have increased within the last year up to 37%? And he tell us that so all these things now, they are just political propagandas and projections. We are not going to get anything out of it. At least we are not seeing any way forward. There's no way forward, and we are hopeless. Now,
that's a strong term to use.
Yes, we are hopeless. I forgot to mention something. The other question you asked about the fuel, that they have increased the production of fuel.
Yes.
So how is it helping? See, all the things they say they've increased, all this thing, it's not helping, it's not translating. We are not seeing the change. Is it when we all die? Is it when everybody is dead that we begin to enjoy
looking at
these things?
the budget, maybe to take effect from 2025.
Is it the first time they're making budget?
No,
he made budget before.
Okay.
This is not the first time he's making budget. He made budget before, but where is this translation? It's not affecting anything.
It's okay. So let us hear from Stanley.
Now, Mr. Joseph, I would like to say something. You said he's saying that this budget is supposed to take effect from 2025.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you know, there was an already structured budget on ground before he came.
Of course.
And then he still have to draft his own as according to how he wants it.
Yes.
So now, what now changed the level of enjoyment we are at? Because at least I comparing the two administrations, I think we enjoyed a level of
the past administration
to some certain
we feel better under Buhari than this guy.
Wow.
So what is now worsening the whole situation for us on a daily basis? This is not something of at least we are trying to fix things. Every day it gets worse. It's just like a rotten egg. When you fail to throw it away, it will keep on bringing up some kind of stinky odor on a daily basis, and at a point you may not even be able to even stay around the vicinity if you don't take proper care of it.
Okay, so no problem. But before we go quickly, Santhiago, let me ask, what do you think is the right way to follow for Nigeria to get out of this situation that we are?
Thank you for this. I so much love this question. Now, the first way forward is listening to the people.
Okay.
Yes, because these people, they are surrounded by SS advisor to the governor, SS to the president. They don't tell them the truth.
Wow.
Yes, they don't know the plight of what the ordinary Nigerians are passing through. That's why we are seeing situations like this. If you don't listen to the people, you don't know what is good for them. How can you come and say that there's lesser inflation has decreased? Like, I don't understand. Do you know what people face when they go to the market? Before, you can use 1,000 naira to eat twice. I'm talking about the average Nigerian. You can use 1,000 naira to eat twice, but this time 1,000 can barely get you a meal.
Maybe the government look maybe where the perspective the government look at from the other side, where the normal citizens look at it from the other angle. Maybe we don't really know.
No, they don't look at it. They are not getting the feedback from the citizen. Once you begin, and the worst part now, once you begin to air your frustration, they begin to silence you. So there is no way forward than listen to the people, know what the people are going through, and be able to solve them. They are not solving the problem of the people. They are solving their own problem. First, he removed subsidy. Okay, if you remove subsidy for fuel and things are going high, why not subsidize other communities? You can subsidize rice, you can subsidize transportation, you can do subsidy on all these things, but they're not doing it. Now look at the budget. Housing, 4.something billion or million or trillion for housing.
Trillion. Yes.
Trillion for housing. How many people are going to get those houses? Now, when there are housing units for grabs, who gets it? Is the commissioner to the commissioner to the commissioner. Commissioner have a list, governor have a list, this person have a list. Now senators have list. They give those people those houses to those people. So how does that get to the ordinary master? At the end of the day, they enrich themselves. Look at what Wike is doing in Abuja. He's demolishing land where people are living, and that land is being allocated to a company that he is a co-owner, a company that another rich person is a co-owner. So if they don't listen to the masses, we're not going to get anywhere.
Okay, let's just hope that the government will hear your cry and the cry of the masses. So Stanley, what do you have to say about this?
Actually, I'm not praying for the downfall of the whole situation. I'm only praying for us to at least sometime find the peace we are looking for and the enjoyment, at least even if not in all aspects, but at least the key aspect of this fuel that is inflating the whole thing. Because when a farmer brings yam home from the farm, let's say some of the farm tools they use now, they use fuel, or let's say they use the motorcycle to bring the crops home, they will have to charge everything inside the cost of the product, and when they bring it to the market, it becomes too high for an ordinary citizen to even buy a yam. Let's say just single tuber of yam now. If you price it in the market, you know what the economy is saying. So I think the fuel, which is the driving force, needs to be paid a very serious attention, and the solution to challenge is to first of all identify it. Then it's best of all to identify where the challenge is before you can solve it, because even if you have 50 million solutions but you still don't figure out where the challenge is, how can you fix it?
Thank you very much, Stanley. So thank you both for your insightful perspectives. It's clear that why the 2024 budget presents ambitious plan. The key to its access lies in effective implementation, tackling key challenges like inflation, exchange rates, and domestic production. In conclusion, why the restoration budget brings optimism with its focus on economic growth and development, it only time will tell.